Peace and blessings, family. Peace and blessings. Marina here again. Thank you so much for joining me. This is part three of me talking about my book, If I Decide to Fly, Collected Poems of Affirmation and Celebration for African American Men. If you haven't gone back to watch part one and part two, please make sure you do that because that'll give you an understanding of what I'm going to talk about here in part three. So in part two, I mentioned the eagle, and I mentioned the photo on the back. One of the things I did forget to mention was the cover design. I found this sister, her name was Angela Lovett, and she did all of the design and layout for my book. That was really important to me because, you know, today you can go to Amazon and you can lay out your own book, and there's so many opportunities to do the layout and all that stuff. But back during the time, this was about 2006 or so, those opportunities weren't as prevalent as they are today. And, you know, for me personally, in self-publishing, I didn't want to do all that, y'all. I honestly did not want to do all that. I didn't want to do all the layout and the design. And, you know, those things are readily available to you now, and you can actually do them on your own. And I actually did them with my novel. I did use some of the layout features that are available on Amazon. But you know, when I published this book, I was fortunate enough to find this sister who did the layout for me. She did all the internal layout, the cover layout, and I used to work with this beautiful spirit. Her name was Perry Blickenstaff. I hope you see this Perry at some point. But she actually took the photo of the eagle for me. She went down, I think it was the rescue center here in Charlotte, and she actually took this photo. So this is not a stock photo. This is an actual photo of an eagle that was down at the Rapture Center. I think it's called the Rapture Center down in Charlotte. So I did want to give a shout out to Angela and to Perry for the cover photo and for the layout. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go inside the book, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the creation of my book. Self-publishing. I'm an advocate. I'm a proponent of self-publishing. I actually worked at Simon & Schuster in their technical department. I wasn't in the department where, you know, the other genres come through. I was more in the technical school textbooks is where I worked. And so I used to edit school textbooks. And I learned a lot. I learned a lot working in the big publishing houses. And so one of the things I said that whenever I wrote a book, I wanted to be the owner of my own material. You know, I didn't want anybody to own my rights. And so it was important to me to self-publish. Now, I have nothing against big house publishing, nothing against them. As a matter of fact, if one of them were to approach me and ask me about publishing, reprinting my book of poetry, If I Decide to Fly, or my novel, I would have a conversation about that. But it would be a different conversation because now I understand the things that I want to own and the rights that I want to own if I were to allow somebody to publish my book. And in that conversation, if those things are not an opportunity to me, then I wouldn't be interested. But that's what happens when you know the business. You know, they'll throw big numbers at you, $1 million, and you're thinking, oh, I got $1 million, I got a book deal. But what they don't tell you is that they have to recoup the costs of your travel and your some of your amenities. So those charges get recouped even before you see a dime. Stories for another day. But anyway, so I self-published my book. Angela played a big part in laying out my book. She did a great job, very professionally done. I would not have had it any other way. Whenever I do something, for me, it's all about the professionalism of it. I always want to ensure that it's professionally done. You'll notice here on the bottom that my book was published by Amani Press Publishing. Well, guess who that is? Yours truly. I have a publishing press. Please don't send me any manuscripts. Please don't ask me about publishing a book because I'm not in that business anymore. But I started Amani Press Publishing so that I could have my work, my books that I wrote under that imprint, Amani Press Publishing. Yeah, did it all myself, y'all. Did a lot of research, As you can see here, my copyright page, I own all the copyrights. I got all of my ISBN numbers. And I do want to give you a tip. If you decide to publish work, when you go get your ISBN numbers, get a couple of ISBN numbers. Don't just get one. I bought, I think, 10 ISBN numbers at one time. And the reason why I did that is because the goal for me was to eventually publish more work. So when I went and got my ISBN numbers, I still own about 8-9 more ISBN numbers that I could use for future works. So that's just a tip. When you go get your ISBN number, think about getting more than one. You have to get your Library of Congress number. I'm not gonna go through all of that. That's stories for another day. But yeah, those are things that you can let somebody else do for you, or you can do it for yourself. I'm a proponent of doing those things for myself because I want to learn as much as I can about the business of my business. And so I like to do all the research and do it myself. My dedication page. My book is dedicated to, this book is dedicated to the Black men in my life who have walked the earth as kings and have gone on to their kingdom. My granddaddy, James T. Cousaw, my soulmate, Tyrone City Tripline, and Julian Madison Pendleton, who is the son of one of my besties. Hey Vicky, how are you, my love? I called my son in spirit. And lastly, to all Nubian men. Yeah, so that's my dedication page in the book. I did a table of contents page because I wanted people to be able to easily find a poem. I think whenever you're reading a book of poetry and you want to reference a poem, you should be able to find it. So one of the ways I broke it out is, the first group is called Between You and Me. And it's poetry that talk about, I don't want to say relationships, but yeah, relationships. But not just relationships between man and woman, but relationships between Black men. Yeah. Then I got it going on. These poems reflect the external and internal beauty of Black men. So I wanted to lump those poems together. And then I have poems that's called It Goes Deeper Than. It Goes Deeper Than. And I think that speaks for itself. It Goes Deeper Than. And then lastly, And the Sisters Say. These are my, spicy poems. These are my poems about, hey, what we think about you, Black men, and how much we love you, and how much we want you to know how much we love you, right? And then I have my acknowledgements page. The acknowledgements page that says, I thank God for everything. I thank my children for choosing me. I thank my mom and dad for molding me. I thank Vicky for her unconditional love, wisdom, and guidance. And Vicky is the beautiful spirit that I mentioned earlier, Julian's mom. She plays such an important role in my life. Oh my God, maybe one day I'll get an opportunity to talk about just that guardian angel of my life. I thank the friends who have supported my dream. I thank all the poets that have gone before me and that will come after me. And I thank you for caring enough to read my work. Yeah. So in my next video, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go into what I call my message to my brothers. Yeah. Thank you so much for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you at the next video. Peace and blessings, family.